For today's Business Matters, Roundup's parent company has been ordered to pay more than $2 billion in the latest case against the weed killer. John Barnes filed a lawsuit against Bayer owner Monsanto for damages related to his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Some studies associate Roundup's key ingredient, glyphosate, with cancer. The company has been hit with more than 177 lawsuits, 177,000 that is, involving the weed killer, and has set aside $16 billion to settle cases. In a statement, Monsanto said the verdict conflicts with scientific evidence and the consensus of regulatory bodies. Monsanto said it plans to appeal. And as relations between the U.S. and China remain shaky, China's premier has denied one-on-one meetings with foreign CEOs again. Instead, 7 executives were joined by U.S. Republican Senator Steve Daines to meet with Premier Li Qiang after the annual China Development Forum. This is the second year in a row Li did not meet separately with foreign CEOs. So during the talk, Li stressed the importance of economic and trade ties between the U.S. and China to the executives from Qualcomm, Pfizer, Cargill, and Boeing. And this comes as more tariffs are expected to be announced by President Trump next month. And Donald Trump Jr. is adding GrabAGun board member to his resume. The president's son and investor Blake Masters are both joining the board as the company plans to go public this summer. A filing shows GrabAGun's fastest growing cohort is Gen Z and millennials. The company hopes to attract young gun owners since it's a digital firearms retailer, while traditional gun retailers still rely heavily on in-store sales. Historically, public markets have been unfriendly to gun retailers, but the company and its backers believe there could be opportunity with the new administration. And the White House Easter egg roll is getting a corporate makeover. The Trump administration is now soliciting corporate sponsors for this year's egg roll event for Easter. Sponsorships range from $75,000 to $200,000, offering branding opportunities on event signage, souvenirs, and social media. The event has long been privately funded, largely through the American Egg Board, which also provides tens of thousands of eggs for the occasion. The Easter egg roll is set for April 21st. Walmart and JPMorgan Chase are partnering up to speed up payments for merchants. The retail giant has about 100,000 sellers in its marketplace platform. JPMorgan says the partnership will allow merchants to accept and make payments while managing cash flow using the bank system. The companies have been turning to so-called embedded finance software to offer financial services directly to customers and businesses. Now, online, JPMorgan described embedded finance as a way to accept, manage, and transfer funds embedded directly into existing ecosystems. Walmart's new partnership with JPMorgan for its merchants comes shortly after a new partnership with Klarna for pay now, buy later shipments and payments as well for shoppers. Egg prices have soared since the bird flu has wiped out nearly 170 million chickens, turkeys, and other birds since 2022. As a result, President Trump, lawmakers, and farmers are trying to think outside the shell, if you will, to bring down prices. Last month, the administration announced a $1 billion plan to help prevent the spread of the virus and research vaccine options. The administration is also prompting imports from other countries. This includes European countries, South Korea, Turkey, and Brazil. Brazil's Animal Protein Association reported last month that U.S. egg imports increased more than 90% compared to last year. Another strategy being considered is easing egg regulations, particularly around broiler chickens, which are chickens raised for meat. The FDA says it's reviewing a petition from the National Chicken Council to allow broiler chicken eggs to be sold for human consumption. Each year, broiler chickens lay about 360 million eggs. Some are used, but most are destroyed. This is partially because the FDA requires eggs to be refrigerated at 45 degrees to reduce salmonella risk. These farms don't have the ability to keep eggs that cold. If regulations are eased, these eggs won't end up on shelves for shoppers. Instead, they'll be used in processed foods like ice cream or salad dressing to free up fresh eggs. And it's already full steam ahead for some of the world's top shipbuilders. An executive for Japan's largest shipbuilding lane warned that shipping lane warned that Japan and South Korea will struggle to quickly ramp up shipbuilding. And this comes as the Trump administration prepares an executive order to revive domestic shipbuilding and weaken China's grip on the industry by imposing port fees on ships linked to China. Takaya Soga, the CEO of Nippon Yusen, said the shipbuilder is already running near full capacity. He added that there is little it can do to expand until 2028 and noted that shipbuilders in South Korea and the U.S. are facing financial challenges. The Financial Times reports that Malaysia has been coming under pressure from the U.S. to keep better track of semiconductor shipments to the country. It's an effort to keep chips used in artificial intelligence applications from making their way to China. NTD Sean Marshall has more.
Malaysia is planning to tighten its regulations on semiconductors. According to the Financial Times, Trade Minister Zafrul Aziz says the U.S. is demanding that Malaysia closely track the movement of high-end NVIDIA chips that enter the country over suspicions that many are ending up in China. The U.S. wants Malaysia to put more effort into controlling the flow of chips to China that are crucial to the development of artificial intelligence. The U.S. is asking us to make sure that we monitor every shipment that comes to Malaysia when it involves NVIDIA chips, Aziz told the newspaper. They want us to make sure that servers end up in the data centers that they're supposed to and not suddenly move to another ship. NVIDIA has not publicly addressed these statements. The United States is investigating whether Chinese AI platform DeepSeek has been using banned U.S. chips. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said in February that DeepSeek appears to be no more than a proxy for the CCP to undermine American AI dominance and steal the data from our citizens. Malaysia is currently investigating whether local laws were broken in a shipment of servers linked to a Singaporean fraud case, as they may have contained advanced chips subject to U.S. export controls. Singapore has charged 3 men in the $390 million fraud case, which involves the suspected sale of NVIDIA chips through Malaysia to China. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
Gene testing firm 23andMe has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. In a statement announcing the bankruptcy, the board's chair said they would determine a court-supervised sale process that is the best path forward. The statement added that its CEO had resigned effective immediately. The bankruptcy filing comes after 23andMe struggled for years to find a sustainable business model. Its core product, an at-home DNA testing kit, offered personalized genetic insights. 23andMe tried to convert one-time buyers into subscribers, but reportedly fell far short of its goals. It's not yet known what will happen to all of that genetic data 23andMe currently possesses if a sale is finalized. And last week, the California Attorney General urged California residents to delete their genetic data and destroy genetic samples held by 23andMe upon learning of the company's financial distress. He said it's due to the trove of sensitive consumer data 23andMe has amassed. He said residents can invoke a consumer protection law to have the company compliant. Meanwhile, the cost of being a pet owner is skyrocketing. As reported in USA Today, Rover's latest True Costs of Pet Parenthood report says that dog owners can expect costs to increase as much as 7% this year. Cat owners could see a 10% increase. Rover predicts that the average annual cost of a dog for 2025 sits between around $1,400 to $5,200. The company also predicts that the annual cost of owning a cat to range from about $750 to $3,500. Some of Hollywood's biggest names are performing on Broadway in a new take on the Shakespeare classic Othello. The play officially opened Sunday. It stars Hollywood heavyweights Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal. The new adaptation is set in 2028. It has already broken records for 8 of its preview performances that garnered $2.8 million. Washington says he played Othello in college when he was 22, now 70 years old. He says he understands the play much more and is more excited than he has ever been for acting in this project. Othello is set to run through the first week of June. The cost of college has skyrocketed in the last 30 years. To help make a degree more accessible to some, Harvard University recently announced they'll offer free tuition for students from families making $200,000 or less. But why is college so expensive?
The cost of college has risen dramatically in the last 3 decades. Inflation and increasing operating costs have caused colleges to charge more. They're also receiving less federal funding.
There's no doubt that college in the U.S. is expensive.
Alex Gailey is an analyst at financial company Bankrate. They recently broke down the cost of tuition plus fees like room and board for this current academic year and estimated the average in-state tuition and room and board at a public four-year college was nearly $25,000 a year. Out-of-state students paid an average of $44,000 a year. A private four-year college costs close to $59,000 a year.
I think people just aren't feeling like maybe the ROI of college degrees is the same as it was a few decades ago.
There are things students can do to lower some of these costs.
One way to immediately cut down the cost of college is being willing to attend a college that is near where you live and living at home.
Consider attending a community college and then transferring to a four-year college. Apply for work-study jobs. Look into financial help like student loans, scholarships, and grants. And choose a degree with a positive return on your investment.
Okay, on to markets. S&P 500 rose sharply today to end at its highest in over 2 weeks. And it's lifted by Nvidia and Tesla, following signs that the Trump administration might take a more measured approach on tariffs against U.S. trading partners. So a Trump administration official on Monday cautioned that the situation was fluid and no final decision had been made. Investors scooped up battered technology shares with Nvidia and Advanced Micro Devices both rallying, and Tesla surged, recovering some of its recent steep decline, helped by optimism about scaled back U.S. tariffs. And that's it on Business Matters for today.